2025, what an excellent year for games. There were a lot of surprises, couple of disappointments, but overall many amazing games have come out this year. But I don't want to focus on the bad games, I just want to make a list of my favorite 5 games, couple of honorable mentions, and 2 games I kind of have an apology for not playing, so I'll cover that as well. So let's get into it. So let's get that apology to myself right away. There are 2 games that I have played just a little bit that I absolutely loved, but because of the reasons, life, other games, I just didn't manage to play. Those are Hollow Knight Silksong and Hades 2. I have played both of the first games of those 2 and absolutely loved them, and I recognize these 2 as fantastic games, but I just didn't spend enough time with them to actually consider where would I put them on my top 5 list and in the honorable mentions. But I just had a feeling like they deserve to be mentioned because I know that they're great games. And there are some other games in 2025 that I wanted to play but didn't have the time, like Hell Is Us or Ghost of Yotei. And hopefully I will correct some of these transgressions and give these games some time in 2026. But enough of regrets, let's get to my 3 honorable mentions for 2025. Split Fiction is a rare co-op treat these days, and it was freaking delicious. The narrative wasn't too engaging or too deep, but honestly I liked it that way. Light-hearted storytelling just works better when you're constantly bantering and joking with your friend over Discord. But the level designs and the game mechanics that are constantly shifting and changing, always changing up something and giving you new tools to play with. Amazing. And the pinball level, I'll die on this hill, it is the best co-op game level ever made. I love it so much, I was constantly just jaw-dropping how smart and how visually provoking and fantastic that level was. Next one is Megabonk. For me, Megabonk was one of those games where I saw it, it was cheap, I thought to myself I'll put 5 to 10 fun hours into it and forget about it. Boy was I wrong. Megabonk was my obsession for about 10 days to 2 weeks and I couldn't play anything except Bonk. It is simple but smart, well designed, with addictive gameplay and catchy music and just a fantastic time. Megabonk rules. And the last honorable mention goes to Dispatch. Many years ago I played Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us from the Telltale developers, and some of those people are the one who made Dispatch, and same as back in the day, I fell in love with Dispatch and its characters and its narrative. And since they're light on gameplay, big part of games like Dispatch is the presentation and just the feel and the charm behind the creation, the characters and the narrative, and Dispatch absolutely nails it. And there were other games that I have enjoyed this year, like Death Stranding 2, Citizen Sleeper 2, Battlefield 6, but they had some problems or some things I didn't like about them and didn't feel like they were worthy to include here, but I just want to mention that. So, this out of the way, let's get to the big 5. I knew Alters is going to be good, but it went above and beyond and delivered one of the best games I have played this year. I played a demo earlier before the game came out and I absolutely loved it, to the point where I didn't want to finish the demo because I was eager to play the full game. Alters delivered the story of one character cloning himself multiple times, and I loved everything about them, but the deeper underlying themes of it were thought-provoking, interesting, and deep and very fun. And one part I wasn't sure how I'm going to feel about this before I finished the game was just the general gameplay loop of getting resources, managing a colony, and exploring this alien planet. But what really works for me is just the pacing of the game, how each section becomes slightly more difficult and complex, and how the game introduces interesting obstacles along the way for it never to get old or too easy or boring. And just when you get to the part where it might get a little bit too comfortable, the game throws something else at you and just challenges you again and again. Alters delivered a very human story in a beautiful and weird sci-fi world, and for that it totally deserves the number 5 game for this year. I wasn't even going to play Ark Raiders this year, but the test server convinced me otherwise, and it convinced me hard. Just like Helldivers last year, it came out of nowhere and completely took over my gaming schedule. Ark Raiders delivered one of most immersive experiences that is not a narrative game but a PvP/VE shooter. And there are many elements that make it so: the world, the characters, the lore, the player tension and everything else, but the biggest contributor to the immersion were the Ark. The Ark were such a standout from their design, the way they move, sound, and the way the game plays. It was absolutely remarkable. And on top of that, there is just a fantastic gameplay loop with some absolutely fantastic social moments that I've had. I just hope that the Embark continues to do good things for the game and that I can return to it later and just put another 20-30 hours into it. Ark Raiders was so much fun and it absolutely deserves a number 4 spot on this list. Kingdom Come Deliverance II. Oh boy, where do we start with this one? I think in terms of game pulling you into this world, this is probably one of the best games in that criteria, if not the best game that I have ever played. And I'm not the biggest fan of historical settings in video games, but every little detail around me always made me question, was it really like this in the medieval times? And that goes just from the characters, the world, the details around it, how Mutt behaves, all the way to the way that the game mechanics work, the way you get better at things and the way you learn things. There is just so much attention to detail that is absolutely beautiful and completely pulls you into this game. And I think that the side quest and NPC writing just needs to be studied, because there are some absolutely unbelievably funny and creative and awesome side quests. And everything just coalesces into this absolute game that is worthy of a number 3 on my Game of the Year list. Have you ever been just absolutely stumped and then had that eureka moment, I've got it? Blueprints is actually a simulator of confusion and epiphanies. Now, I like some puzzle games, but seeing this was a roguelite, I immediately jumped in. And at first, I was just stuck. I couldn't figure out anything until I had my first I got it moment. And the thing with Blueprints is that it doesn't hold your hand and it just trusts you to figure out. Now, not many puzzles were too complicated, and after a little bit of trying, you figure it out. There are some later on which I have not solved, but it took me more than 30 hours to reach the room number 46. But after navigating a puzzle within a puzzle within a puzzle within a bigger puzzle, I finally made it, and it is definitely one of those experiences that if I could, I would like to forget the whole game and just re-experience it completely from the beginning. And that is why Blueprints absolutely deserves number 2 spot on my Game of the Year list. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. We all play games because they make us feel something, whether it's a tight shooting in a extraction shooter, whether it's joy in some kind of platformer, or just the emotional stimulants of a good story. And Clair Obscur just brings out a lot of those. You know, game left an impression on you when you start to feel those things just when you're watching a reel or something, when the music starts to play and it just pulls you back into those feelings that you had while you were playing the game. And Expedition 33 doesn't just deliver on the emotional stimulants, it is also a fantastically crafted world of such a great vision that is tightly tied into the narrative, and the combat was so fun and the character building vast and meaningful. You just gotta love it. And for me, somebody who grew up playing just JRPGs, this was such a trip to the past, and the whole notion of turn-based games are dead just falls into the water, and I hope this is a resurgence of such games, and I cannot wait for the Sandfall Interactive to give us a sequel, because that one is going to be also amazing, and that is a guarantee. So Expedition 33 was absolutely fantastic, and it totally deserves #1 spot for my best games of 2025. And that is the video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me down, don't let me down. Let me know down in the comments what are your best games of the year, and as always, thank you for watching. Bye bye.